What if I told you that 38% of Australians already use cannabis recreationally? My name is Jenna Danford, and today I will be talking about how the legalization of marijuana would benefit our society in more ways than you think. Today I will be giving you 3 reasons as to why I think this drug should be legalized. My first example will be about how it benefits the environment and will help slow down the process of global warming. My second example considers how it would be safer for the consumers to buy the product. And finally, I will be talking about the economic benefits. Now, before I talk about the first reason as to why I think cannabis should be legalized, I'd like to ask the question, why was marijuana made illegal in the first place? Well, it all started with Harry Anslinger, the man who declared war on drugs. He was the first commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. Sounds important. Well, it gives him enough power to basically do what he wants, such as making marijuana illegal by convincing the nation that those who are lured into use of marijuana destined to be transformed into moral and mental degenerates. Some people raving maniacs, others violent criminals. Anyways, he revolved the drug war around 2 things he hated most: African Americans and people with addictions. Although the war was on drugs, I would say his hatred leaned a little bit more towards African Americans. Why do I say that? Well, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz had an addiction problem, and Anslinger's solution for her was to give her more days off. As for African American jazz player Billie Holiday, who also had an addiction problem, his solution for her was to give her hell.
They handcuff her to a hospital bed. They don't let her friends in to see her. They don't let her even have candies. Outside, Reverend Callender led protests with signs saying, "Let Lady Day live." There were big protests. They knew they were killing her.
My first reason as to why cannabis should be legalized. Legalizing cannabis would help slow down global warming. How, you may ask? By using hemp. For those of you who don't know, hemp is part of the marijuana plant. The 2 known components in the cannabis plant are known as cannabidiol, CBD, and tetrahydrocannabidiol, THC. THC is the component that gets you high, and CBD is the healing component. Hemp mostly consists of CBD. Hemp could replace many environmentally detrimental products such as rope, textiles, clothing, shoes, food, paper, bioplastics, insulation, and biofuels. But the government doesn't yet agree on how beneficial the legalization of this herb would be. Now, this isn't the only reason legalizing cannabis would benefit the environment. Yes, there's more. Obviously, the police will take away your weed if they find it, but they don't keep it. So, what do they do with it? They destroy it. Generally, they spray the drug with herbicides and set it on fire. They couldn't just pull the plant out of the ground and let it die. No, they had to burn the herbicide-covered plants, which actually releases those toxins into the environment, which screws with the other plants and animals. So, that doesn't really help with our environmental issues. Now for the second reason as to why cannabis should be legalized. It would take the importing out of the hands of criminal gangs. If the drug got sold legally, it would ensure the safety and the quality of the cannabis for the consumers. They would also know what dose of THC they're consuming. People wouldn't have to buy weed off the streets from some risky dealer who could have sprayed or mixed it with who knows what. This could have an ill effect on people's health and well-being. If the drug was made legal, the consumers would have a reliable source to buy the cannabis, knowing that it meets a reliable standard. The final point I will be making today as to why I think cannabis should be legalized is that the legalization of cannabis would help Australia out of its deep recession. The net social benefit for cannabis staying illegal is $294.6 million. This money comes from fines and penalties, and it all goes to the criminal justice system. If cannabis is legalized, the net social benefit is predicted to more than double to $727.5 million. I'd like to look at Colorado for a minute, a state that legalized cannabis in 2014. Regulated marijuana sales generated nearly $200 million in state tax revenue and license fees in 2016, according to the Colorado Department of Revenue. This does not include tens of millions of dollars in local taxes and fees raised by cities and towns throughout the state. The concrete data we're getting from Colorado pretty much confirms the social benefit prediction we will get here in Australia. The money made would benefit the growers producing the product to be sold, the sellers, the consumers, the healthcare treatments would be paid for, so would the consumer education, and more jobs would be made to fit these roles. Cannabis consumption produces psychopathology, in some cases, psychotic episodes. Well, this isn't exactly true. The link between marijuana and psychosis goes beyond a short-lived high. If you have schizophrenia and you use the drug, it may get worse. You may have more psychotic episodes and spend more time in the hospital. Researchers have also found that if you carry specific genes that affect the brain chemistry, marijuana use can raise the chance you'll have schizophrenia. One of those genes is called AKT1, another is called COMT. The legalization of cannabis would benefit the environment, ensure the safety of the consumers, and would profit the Australian government financially. Each of these things will benefit our lives and our futures. The legalization of marijuana in Australia is inevitable. It's already successfully happened in many places around the world. We as a society can encourage this process by voting for political parties in favor for the legalization of cannabis.